Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my NFL Wildcard Weekend exclusive top 6 best bets. I'm only doing one bet per game, and then I am also going to be doing a parlay as well. This week, there's less games, so I'm not going to be doing any upset alert video or anything like that. Just there's only 6 games, there's really no point to it, but I am going to give out 6 bets. Again, one per game is what I limited myself to. So beginning at number 6, it is Buffalo sitting -10 at home against the Steelers. This is a 7v2 matchup. I love both 2 seeds to win relatively big. You could make the argument that Buffalo has been very inconsistent this season, but in a home spot against the Steelers without TJ Watt, this is a Pittsburgh Steelers team that was really left for dead after they lost at home against New England. The narrative has completely changed. Mason Rudolph having a few good games, but let's not overrate the Steelers. They got into the playoffs in part because the Baltimore Ravens rested their starters. That was supposed to be the toughest game for the Steelers, and they ended up being 3-point favorites because of it. I will take Buffalo, who's been playing really well. The only big issue is Josh Allen. Big time turnover problems, but I still do like him. He is a top quarterback in the NFL, and this should be a complete mismatch. You would expect Baltimore being at home in this game, 1 o'clock on Sunday. I don't think the Steelers are going to score very much. I have the Bills relatively comfortably winning this game by 14 and covering a relatively large spread, sitting -10, especially in the playoffs. Moving on to number 5, it is the Browns traveling to Houston. This is the first game of the playoffs, and I do love the under 44.5. Pretty surprised the over-under is this high, although the Browns have played a lot of higher scoring games towards the end of the regular season. And Houston is a team with CJ Stroud. They can score. They'll also let up some points. I just feel like in this spot, the Browns defense is going to take control. This is going to be a lower scoring game. And also another thing I feel, whenever Houston hosts a playoff game, normally Houston, it feels like they always host a wild card game. It's normally always lower scoring. So 44.5 is a pretty high number for a Browns team that's got a really good defense and they're traveling on the road. I'm going to go with the under 44.5. I do like the Browns to cover a 2.5-point spread, but I like the under even more because 44.5 in the NFL, it's not like a crazy low number. If it was 36 or 37, yeah, that's pretty low. But 44.5 is not bad. I'll take the under in that game and trust the Browns defense against a rookie quarterback, even though CJ Stroud's been so good. 20-16, a grand total of 36 total points. You've got a very easy under. Even if you get something like 23-20 on a walk-off field goal, 43 points, that's under. Moving on to number 4, it is the Rams traveling to Detroit. I am going with the over 51.5. I don't know. Ever since this game was announced, you've got 2 dome teams. I'm loving a higher scoring game. This could even be a game where it's like 33-30. I do think it has the potential to be a shootout. 2 good quarterbacks, Stafford, Goff. There's going to be some scoring. Detroit has a suspect defense. The Rams with Nakua and Kupp. Sunday night game, I'm getting an over vibe, higher scoring one in that one. Although 51.5 is a high number. I really thought it would have been like 48 or 49, but I will still take the play on the over there. Moving on to number 3, it is Miami traveling to Kansas City. I like the under in this game, and this is based off of the weather. Now, you might say, well, it's just going to be cold. That really doesn't affect things. If you look at history, it's more so if it snows. But if it's going to be 0 degrees, that's really going to hinder Miami's offense. I'm sorry. And the Chiefs, it's not like the Chiefs are this crazy explosive team. That's not their style this year. It's not like they generate a ton of explosive plays. They don't have the receivers for it. They don't have the playmakers for it. So you could even be looking at a game where it's like 20-17 and you get an easy under 44.5. But I will take the under in this one. If it was like 40 degrees, I don't think I'd take the under. But the fact that it's 0 degrees and it's Miami on the road, it's going to be a crazy adjustment. And not only is Miami on the road playing in bad weather, it's a very hostile environment. So Miami, I'm guessing, is not going to score a ton. Kansas City, I really haven't been a fan of this year because of their lackluster offense, not a lot of explosive plays. That leads me to believe the under 44 hits in that one. Moving on to number 2, it is Green Bay traveling to Dallas, and I do like the Cowboys, even though it is kind of a bad number, minus a 7.5. The over-under in this game is also 51.5, and honestly, I would be tempted to take the over, but in general, I will take the Cowboys to cover a 7.5-point spread at home against a decent Green Bay team with Jordan Love, who is improving and emerging, but it feels like this year Dallas is going to make a deep run into the playoffs. They normally at least win one playoff game anyways, and they're at home. They're in a good spot. They're the more talented team. They play extremely well on offense at home. Green Bay, on the other hand, yes, they've been good in the second half of the year, but it's not like they've been elite. They're a solid team, but they're going to lose to Dallas. Dallas just has way more talent, and Dallas does have a big-time home field advantage there, minus the 7.5. I wish it was like 6.5 or 7, but either way, I do think Dallas can win this game by 2 scores. Dallas is a weird team. It wouldn't surprise me if Dallas won this game like 38-17. They tend to blow teams out at home, so we will see. Moving on to number 1, it is Philadelphia traveling to Tampa Bay. This is kind of the irrelevant game, or I don't know if I call it irrelevant, but you've got the Bucs in the playoffs basically by default because the NFC South is so bad, taking on a Philadelphia team that's been horrible the last 6 games. I'll go with the under 43.5, so I believe 3 out of my 6 bets are unders. I would take Philadelphia to win this game by more than 3. They're sitting -3 right now. But yeah, 43.5, both of these teams, I'm just seeing an offensive challenged game based off of how the Eagles have played, the potential A.J. Brown injury. It's not like Baker Mayfield has lit the world on fire recently. They're coming off a 9-0 win against Carolina, so they scored 9 points, and I will go with the under in terms of that one. And then taking a look, I just put together one parlay. It's just a 3-teamer. Should be, I wouldn't call it a lock, but certainly both of the 2 seeds I'm expecting to win pretty comfortably at home. Buffalo, they are minus 525 on the money line, and then you do have Dallas minus 350 if either of those teams lost. To me, it would be a pretty crazy upset. And then also the Browns. So the Browns are almost a pick 'em. They are minus 135 going on the road at Houston. I just think the Browns have been good all year. They're the type of team that you could see make a run in the playoffs or at least win a playoff game with a veteran quarterback going up against a rookie. Houston, they're a team that it was looking like they were going to miss the playoffs outright. They end up winning their division because Jacksonville lost. That's the only reason they're hosting a playoff game. They do have a bright future, but I do trust the Browns defense. The Browns just have a better roster than Houston, even though they are on the road. And if you're going to give me them basically in a pick'em, with a multiplier of a parlay, I think that's pretty good value. And then just looking at the public betting, you can see the Browns are right now sitting minus 2.5. Slightly more money has come in onto Cleveland. The number on the left is what it opened at. So the Browns were minus 1.5. It basically immediately got bumped to 2.5, and 65% of the money coming in on, or I believe that's just 65% of the bets, not the money, just the bets. Dolphins, Chiefs. Chiefs, slightly more popular team to bet on. People are fading the Dolphins because of the weather. They opened +3, now they're +4.5, not really surprising. And then the Steelers, Bills, the more money coming in on the Bills, just slightly, really nothing all that interesting. All of these are relatively close, but the Bills did move to a half point more of a favorite. The Packers, Cowboys, the Packers, slightly more money coming in on them. They are 7.5-point underdogs. You can kind of understand it. The Rams, Lions. This is the big one. Yeah, I'm not really surprised people don't trust Detroit. Detroit has very limited playoff experience compared to the Rams and Sean McVay. But that makes me almost, like Detroit even more. And then Eagles, Bucks, you do have Philadelphia, slightly more money coming in on them. Yeah, I would agree. I just don't trust the Bucks. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.